Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday. Last night Mal and I tackled mail. In particular, we tackled all of the mail from summer, which means that we opened all of the letters and packages from June, July, and August. It was a huge undertaking. It took a long time to do, but we got it done. My goal today is to edit it all. But one of the things that I've been talking about, something that was going to be upcoming and something that I mentioned in those mail videos, is that mail would be changing. So today I'm going to talk about how mail will be changing. But in order to properly illustrate why mail is changing, I think it's important to look back at the past. StephenVlog's been going on a long time, so I think it would be important to look at the history of StephenMail and why it needs to change. Let's get comfy. So as you may or may not know, StephenVlog is over 5 years old. In that time, mail has changed a lot. There's been several key changes, so let's go back to the very beginning. Within the first 3 months of starting StephenVlog, I received my first bit of mail. If I'm not mistaken, the first piece of mail I received was from someone named Luke, and I know it was in that first 3-month period. I don't really know when I gave out my school address, but at some point I did that. People started sending in mail. Now, in those early days, mail was pretty rare. We didn't get mail all that often, but when we did, we just read it on the vlog because it didn't come that often. We got maybe a piece of mail every month or two, and that was as often as we got it. So it's very manageable and very easy to just include on the vlog. And a lot of times it was kind of a really big deal. If we got mail, we'd be like, oh man, we got mail, and we'd dance around and we would read every single word, and it was fine because we rarely got mail. As time went on, we started to receive more and more mail. In fact, one of the things that we received was magic cards. We received signed land cards, and what we would do is we had a frame up in the dorm room, and we would put those cards in that frame. And I know that seems crazy now because we could fill 2 frames with just like one mail video, but back then they came infrequently enough that that was something we could do. So people would send in signed cards, and we would put them up on the frame, and then we would talk about what got into the frame today. And then time continued and we filled up that frame. So I bought a new frame, and people started sending in signed Denny Walling cards. Once again, if you've taken the journey, this will probably be familiar with you. Otherwise, I've got 5 years of videos, so you'll just have to roll with this. So Denny Walling was a baseball player. I don't really remember why this became a thing in the first place. But anyway, people were sending in signed Denny Walling cards. So we filled up another frame. Then we bought a 3rd frame because we were getting mail more and more frequently. And it occurred to me, I can't keep doing this. I can't continue to buy card frames for the rest of my life. They held 20 cards. We filled up 3 of them. And it just didn't make sense to continue to buy card frames because people were sending in mail more and more frequently. So, for fun fact, I actually still have all those 3 card frames. They're all in my parents' house. I think 2 of them are hanging up, which is really cool. So we stopped doing the card frame thing, but we still wanted to accept mail. People were sending in mail, so we're like, okay, we'll keep reading mail, but we're going to do it in a new format. This was in year 2, I think. We had just gotten married and moved to Columbia, so we were right at the end of year 2, I believe. Anyway, we decided that we would move to a new format where we open mail in a separate video. Not on the vlog itself, but in a separate video. I remember there being a little backlash against it, but it still worked out pretty well because we were reading the entirety of the letters. We were reading every single thing in the letter, whatever people sent. And the way we did it was we did 5 pieces of mail. Didn't matter what exactly it was, just 5 letters or 4 letters in the package or whatever. 5 pieces of mail per mail video. And it worked. It was great because it took all of the mail that we were getting and it put it in one place where people who wanted to watch mail could watch mail. If they just wanted to watch vlogs, they could watch vlogs. It was win-win. It was a good situation. The problem was the videos, first off, were only covering 5 pieces of mail, and they were like 20 to 25 minutes long half the time, which is quite a while. But as time went on, the channels grew. That's good. That's a good thing to happen, but StephenVlog got bigger, and this is why all of this has happened in the first place. StephenVlog got bigger. There were more subscribers. There were more people watching. More people wanted to send in mail. So, our idea of doing a mail video, which would contain 5 pieces of mail, was going strong. The problem is, eventually, we weren't doing 1 of these videos a month. We were doing 2 of these videos a month, and then 3 of these videos a month. And then right before it ended in that format, I believe we did 4 or 5 mail videos in 1 month. And we realized that it had to change. So, July 2013 is when the new format came into place. And the format was basically, we want to continue to include all of the mail. That's the goal. We want to include all of the mail, but this is the first time in the StephenMail history that we're not going to include everything in a letter. So our solution was this. We would divide everything into letters and packages. We'd open up all of the letters ahead of time. We'd go through the letters and pick out parts of the letter that we want to read. We weren't going to read every single little bit of every single letter. We were going to pick out parts of a letter and just read that. And this was a good solution because in a mail video, we could get through like 20 letters and 5 packages in about 40 minutes most. Like, that would be the most time we spent on it. And that was good. That was really good. Here's the problem. And here's the problem I've had with this format for a long time and why it's finally caught up with me. We've been doing this for 18 months, since July 2013. Admittedly, a few of the mail videos are not out yet, but that's the format. That's what it's been. The problem with this format, and the problem that people don't seem to understand, is that it takes a long, long time to produce. It is not just us sitting down reading mail. It is us going through all of the mail ahead of time, picking out certain parts to read, sometimes having to paraphrase or even rewrite letters. And you might say, well, Stephen, that seems ridiculous. Why would you rewrite letters? Well, here's the deal. Not everyone that writes to us is a good writer. And sometimes English isn't even their first language. So sometimes it makes the most sense for us to rewrite something. It helps us both on time, because it helps keep the amount of time in the video down, and it also helps the person that sent it not look dumb. And we want to make sure that we do that. We don't want to ever have to read a letter and then, stumble around in the letter because the letter was maybe poorly written. And this happens more often than you guys would think. And you guys don't know about it because we do all of this stuff ahead of time to make everyone's letter appear perfect. We keep all of the same feel of the letter, and a lot of times we don't have to alter stuff, but sometimes we do. And a lot of times whenever I've brought up, changing StephenMail, many of the suggestions are, Stephen, just put the camera down, take 2 or 3 hours, go through all of the mail, just sit there and read it, and then upload it uncut. And you can't do that. You just can't do that. For one, it would be incredibly uninteresting because it would be a lot of dead time. We're trying to get mail videos smaller, and we did really good with this format that we've had for 18 months, but that format's not perfect. And having to go through every single letter and underline stuff and then check stuff, it kills you. And it's the letters. I won't say that the packages are perfect, because the packages also include letters, but there are fewer packages, and also people that send packages either tend to be short-winded, like they don't write a whole lot in their letters, or they just tend to be more well-written. That's not me bashing anyone who has ever sent in a letter, but that is me having done this for 5 years and received mail over that period. That's something I've noticed. People that tend to send in packages tend to be better writers than the people that send in letters. Once again, that's not a display across everyone who has ever sent in a letter. That's not what that means. That's just saying, statistically, that's what I have noticed personally. So, with that being said, mail videos, even though you get them and they're like 40 minutes long, tend to take up to 5 or more hours to produce. And that is the entire process. That's, opening up the mail, looking through the mail, deciding what we're going to read, maybe possibly rewriting stuff to summarize it better, going through all of that stuff, filming everything, and then editing everything. So it's a very lengthy process to create episodes of StephenMail, and we got to change it. And the reason we got to change it should be evident to you guys. Mail was behind for 6 months, and the reason mail was behind is because it takes so long to do, and we were already behind on other stuff, that it just was not something that we could feasibly do. And I know that moving into 2015, this has got to change. So here is my thoughts on this. And this is not a finalized thing, and I really want your input on this. I really do. So please, if you watch StephenMail, if you're a fan of StephenMail, this is directed at you guys, because you guys are the ones that are watching. I want to hear your opinions in the comments. December will stay the same, first and foremost. The old format will continue through this year. So if you send a letter or a package or whatever, and it's postmarked in December, it's going to get opened up in mid-January, but if it's postmarked in December, it gets the same format that we've had for the last 18 months. So that's out of the way. Now, starting in January, all the mail that is sent to us in January, this is what I'm proposing, and this is what I think is going to end up saving us a lot of time and ultimately being able to help us release mail and keep up with it. And I know that there's going to be some backlash from this immediately, but you have to see it from my point of view, where these things take forever to do, and if we don't change something, there just won't be mail. Instead of reading all of the letters, we are going to do featured letters. And I feel like that in and of itself is going to make some people upset, but you have to understand why this is such a big deal. This would allow us to look at the letters ahead of time, pick out just a few letters that we feel are what we'll call exemplary letters. I mean, just letters that we feel are really, really awesome. And we will share those letters. And that will be it. We'll share, if we get 20 letters and we share 2 of them, then that'll be the 2 letters that we share. And then everything else, for the most part, stays the same. We would still open packages. And the reason is that's what you guys want to see. And I know that there's going to be some of you saying, but wait, I watch all of StephenMail. Here's the thing. I have access to the analytics for every mail video that has ever come out. You want to know what all of the audience retention data on those look like? People skipping ahead to the packages. I'm being honest here. More than 50% of the people that watch mail videos skip ahead to the packages. That is just the way it is. Now, it's not everybody. It's not everybody, but it is a large percentage. More people than not are skipping ahead to where the packages are and just watching the packages section. That's kind of the reality of the situation. So my thinking is show the best letters. We'll still be reading all of the letters that you guys send in. That will not change. Every single letter will, see, my eyes and Mao eyes will see all the letters that come in, but we're going to be taking just a handful of what we feel are the best letters and sharing those. Then we will share the packages, as has always been the case. And in addition to packages, we also want to show off featured art. So if there was a really cool piece of art that we got that month, that would be something else that we wanted to show off. So we have featured letters, we have featured art, we're going to open up the bulk of the packages, and then at the very end of the video, we want to credit everyone. It doesn't matter if your letter got featured or not. We want to put your name, your place, and your YouTube name on screen. Because we feel bad. We do. I mean, it's one of those things. I feel like I shouldn't feel bad for growing, but like, we've grown. I mean, that's why this has got to happen. We have grown to the point where it is very hard to do this. And I want to make sure that the videos are good and they are worth watching, and I don't want them to be 3 hours long with a lot of us like opening stuff and things like that. So I want to make the best video I can while still trying to include everyone I can. And it's getting harder and harder, but that's my idea. That's the idea I'm bringing to you guys. The mail videos, we would also try to keep them a lot shorter if we can, although they just should in general be shorter because we get less packages than letters every month. So once again, I'm thinking, featured letter or 2, a few featured pieces of art, the packages that we normally do, which a package would just be at our discretion, and then a thank you to everyone that sent in a letter. So we would still be reading your letters, even if your letter didn't get read on screen. We'd still credit you at the end of the mail video. That's what we're thinking. That's what we're thinking. And if you send in a piece of art, it regularly gets posted on Facebook. That wouldn't change. So even if your art wasn't featured in the video, it would still be on Facebook, and I'd still ask you guys to tag it. Man, okay, so that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. I hope that you guys like my idea. If there's anything that you'd like to add to it or change or something you're not comfortable with, or maybe a question, leave it below and I will look at it. This is a really hard thing for Mal and I because we know that you guys really like mail and we really like doing mail, and we're put in a hard position because the continued growth is really killing mail. And we want to make sure we continue to include as much as possible. And we have looked to other channels for ideas. There are channels that, they only open the packages, which is pretty similar to what we're doing now. There's channels that they just take one really cool thing that they get a week and then just open that up and talk about it. So there's a lot of different theories and different ideas on this subject. This is what we came up with, still trying our best to include everyone. And we really want your input on this. Yeah. As a side note, the summer mail videos are out now. They are divided into letters and packages, so watching the packages video should give you kind of an idea of what the future mail videos could be like if we go with this upcoming format. Also, once again, to remind you guys, all of the mail that's postmarked in December will still be in the old format, so if you've ever wanted to send a letter, I highly advise you send it in December. And also, that means that the December video is probably going to be really huge. But that's okay. That's okay. We're going to get it done. Thank you guys so much for watching. And thank you so much for understanding. And let me know what you think. And let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? Earthbound Forever. A compilation game containing Mothers 1, 2, and 3 coming to Wii U. Is that crazy? Yes, it is. It's very crazy. What I'm going to try and do to make this work is give myself some bounces here. Okay, there we go. I gave myself a bounce, and I had a feeling that would help. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can redeem ourselves here. Get in that hole, you son of a gun. Ugh, that should have been a 1.